Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing a tutorial on how to replace the carbon cartridge in your hang-on back filter with reusable filter media. First of all, the person that I'm making this tutorial for has a top fin filter. This is a top fin filter, so it just felt appropriate. But anyway, this is your filter pad right here. This is your cartridge, is what I like to refer to it as, your carbon cartridge. Now this is just made out of filter floss, and inside it, it has activated carbon. Now the problem with these pads that come with the filter and, buying replacement pads like this is that your beneficial bacteria will all live in this filter floss. And every time you throw one of these away, you're throwing away your cycle. Now that's kind of a catch-22 though, because the carbon that's inside of this does go bad. After about 30 days, the carbon stops working, it expires, and there are actually potential risks to leaving expired carbon in your filter. So what we want to do is we want to avoid having to replace the filter floss when we replace the carbon. Now, my personal recommendation is to not use carbon at all. Whether or not you want to use carbon, that's up to you. Personally, I don't like using it. If we look inside here, we've got all this empty space. And that's an awful lot of space just for a little cartridge like that. Instead, make your own filtration inside of it. So we'll start with filter sponge. Now I've already cut this to size. This was a lot longer. It was probably about twice as long. And this is a good surface area for bacteria. And it is also mechanical filtration. When the water flows through the sponge, that is called mechanical filtration because water is being pumped through it mechanically. So let's go ahead and let's stick this in here. And let's push it all the way down as deep as it goes. So that's your first layer of filtration right there, is filter sponge. You can't even see in there. But when the water comes up through the intake tube, goes into the pump, when it comes out at the bottom and rises up. So the first layer of filtration here is going to be the filter sponge. Now we've still got a lot of room. And I got that filter sponge at Petco. It only cost me a few dollars. They also sell stuff like this filter sponge at PetSmart, and you can just cut it to size that you need and stick it in there. Now the next layer of filtration, because as you can see we've still got a lot of room in there, I can still stick my whole hand in there. The next layer of filtration is going to be your water polisher. Filter fiber, also known as filter floss. This is the Imagitarium brand that comes from Petco. And I probably overpaid for this because this is quite literally stuffed animal fluff. Like, you could just go to the arts and crafts section of Walmart and get stuffed animal fluff. And it is this exact same stuff. But we're going to go ahead and take a couple handfuls of this. There we go. That's a good amount there. And we'll just shove that in here. Right in there. Just like so. And be careful not to let that fluff get into the impeller right there. So now that we've done that, our next layer of filtration is going to be your biological media. Now, there's all sorts of different things you can get. You can get something called bio balls, you can get ceramic rings, all kinds of stuff. I'll insert some pictures of different biological media that I saw at PetSmart today. This stuff I got at Petco. It's again the Imagitarium brand. I don't have the label that was at the top, but this is what it is. And I got a mesh bag. And I've already put some in here in this mesh bag. You just need enough to sit on the top of the filter. Close the mesh bag up. And wrap it. And compress like that. And you just stick that on the top of the filter. It's hard to do with one hand. Please hold. Stick that right on top of the filter floss. Make sure that it doesn't go too high. You still want the water to flow through it. And that's a lot of surface area for your beneficial bacteria to grow on. When water passes through here, it's going to first pass through the sponge, and then it's going to pass through the filter floss, and then it's going to pass through your biological media. One thing that I do recommend is that if you are replacing a carbon cartridge with this DIY kind of setup here, all of your beneficial bacteria will already be on this cartridge if you've been using it for any amount of time. If you take this out and throw it away and put all this new stuff in, then you will have effectively killed your cycle. So what you want to do is you want to take some scissors and you want to cut a good amount of this filter floss off. Now this thing is going to be nasty, it's going to be gross, it's going to be brown, it's going to be smelly, but that's okay. All of your bacteria is living on that. So you just want to cut off a good portion of that filter floss, rinse it off in some dechlorinated water or some used tank water, get all that carbon off of it and all that gunk off of it, and then stick it inside the filter in between your biological media and your filter floss. So I've got my filter floss layer right here. Let's say I had cut some of this off. I would just stick it right inside here, and then I would put this on top of it, like so. And then, effectively, the bacteria that's living on that filter floss will transfer into the biological media right here, because the water is going to flow up through this filter floss from this old cartridge up into the biological media where it will live. Now, these are just some recommendations for me: the sponge, the biological media, the filter floss. I like that combination personally. You can also use carbon. Carbon doesn't just come in cartridges like this. You can also get a mesh bag, an even finer mesh bag than this. I'll insert a picture. And you can get a jar of carbon, and you could actually, instead of having the filter floss layer, this stuff, you can have a bag of carbon. That's what the AquaClear filters come as. So if you were to buy an AquaClear filter, it would not come with one of these. An AquaClear filter will come with a layer of sponge, an activated carbon baggie, and a layer of biological media. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you learned something. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.